Welcome to yet another live consumer affairs show. Njengenjwayelo kembukeli sikuphatheleke indzaba lithinta wena nelikhikhi lakho. Kanti-ke nawe ungaba ingxenye loluhlelo ngekushayela licingo-ke noma umbeke umbono wakho ku-Facebook na ku-Twitter. Asisingene-ke endzabeni namuhla. Tinkulungwane tebantu tiyalimana etingodini temgwaco emisebentini nangebugebengu lobutsite minyaka yonke. Lapho-ke labalimele-ke kumele banikwe sincephetelo. But what baffles many is that while two people can be injured in the same accident, the amount of compensation each receives can be vastly different. Kubangelwa yini lokho? Asasive-ke na umbiko.
UMzantsi Afrika lelinye lamazwe ankqenkqeza phambili ngezinga lokwenzakala kwabantu ezindleleni. Qho ngonyaka amawakawaka aphulukana nobomi okanye afumane ukwenzakala. Ukanti nasemigodini akubhetelanga. Imigodi yeli idume ukushiya iintsapho zilila kuba omnye wabo engene ephila kodwa waphuma sekuthethwa elinye ibali. Ukanti nasezibhedlele impazamo ezishiya umonakalo emzimbeni ziyenzeka. Xa kunjalo amaxhoba athi afune imbuyekezo, compensation ngolwasemzini, kulowo ubangele lo monakalo.
The object of compensation is to place the individual in the position he or she would have been had the accident not occurred or had the damage or the injury not occurred.
Usehona ligqwethe lisebenza ngamabango okwenzakala. Uthi phambi kokuba umuntu onzakeleyo abhatalwe, kuninzi ukuthi uqolosele ukuqala. Oku kuquka umrholo olahlekileyo ngenxa yokulahlekelwa. Nokuba ukwenzakala akuphazamisa indlela ubani besebenza ngayo phambi kwengozi.
If a football player is injured in a motor vehicle accident and fractured knee, fractured legs, and in the same vein you have an attorney working in an office injured on the same leg, fractured knees and whatever, the compensation would not be the same. On general damages level, there might be close to similar, but the ultimate compensation will not be equal because the football player uses his legs to make a living. If an attorney has a brain injury, you can imagine the amount of compensation that must be paid to that attorney because now his brain cannot function. He can't make a living. So you can imagine the loss of income calculation that it would be higher than generally a person who is in a position where he relies less to generate on his brain to generate income.
Kodwa kusolo kunjalo, uJoseph Ditle, utata abantwana amathandathu waphulukana neminwe mhla umachini ukusika amazinge wawela phezu kwakhe. Uthi wahlawula umawaka ngamashumi randi, 21,000 rand. Uthi into ebuhlungu yokuba kule minyaka yeshumi idluleyo khange akwazi ukufumana umsebenzi. Uthi abaqeshi bathi abakwazi ukumqesha xa enalo monzakalo.
Abantwana bami bambuza bathi baba wena awumaketa ufuna ukumaketa wena. Yithi bayathathiwa mina phambi kwami ngizwa ukuthi bayoshaya amapeki ngizoyishaya kanjani ipeki. Bayoshaya amaharafu ngizoshaya kanjani iharafu. Namanje mangithi ngilanda computer ngizoyishaya kanjani ngeminwe so. Yabona ukuthi
ekugqibeleni sencamile kwavela isithuba kwiproject yokwakha apho ahlala khona. Kuba kokufuna umuntu okhubazekileyo wabhaqa. Apha inye into anokuyenza ugcwalise izithuthi zokusebenza ngedizili. Oxa bakhe kunye nabanye ekuhlaleni abakholelwa ukuba wafumana imali engaka ngomonzakalo omkhulu oluhlobo.
And then uthi mangitshela la mafika la akhuluma ngawo manje, I was so shocked and I was so disappointed. And then they took advantage of him, and they actually it's an harassment. Because when you take advantage of someone who is ill-informed, I don't know ukuthi ngiyibenze kanjani.
UkaDihle uthi zange achazelwe amalungelo akhe. Wanikwa iphepha elithi makatyikitye ecinga ukuba iseninzi imbuyekezo ezayo. Kuba uDihle wayithatha imali yonzakala awayinikwayo, uSehwana uthi akukho nto ngoku anokuyenza ngelithi ufuna enye imali. Uthi ngokomthetho xa ubhatelwe akunakuphinda ufumane enye intlawulo.
You shouldn't rush to be paid because you might be paid less than what is due, just because there has not been a proper assessment of your injuries. Because you know, once you claim damages, you get paid and you can't go anywhere else.
Ucebisa abantu kuba xa wehlelwe ingozi efana nale, khawuleza ufune uncedo kwiingcali ezifana naye. Uthi injongo yamagqwetha kunye nezinye iingcali ezisebenzisa ngamabango okwenzakalo kuqinisekisa ukuba imali oyihlawulwayo ifanelekile. Uvuyisile Mdoda, Yilungelo Lakho.
Siyabonga kakhulu ke kuvuyisile Mdoda losilethele lo mbiko. Nyalo ke ukukhuluma kabanti ngecompensation nekuthi ke isebenza kanjani. Asasimukele ke Andisa Gowa lo occupational therapist kanye sinaye futhi na Nokuthula Sihlangu lo vela e-Department of Labour kanye ke nasinolwazi Mahlaba lo personal injury attorney. Makhosikazi sayimukele hleleni sanibonani.
Thank you. Sawubona.
Alright, ndawucala ngawe ke before we get deep into the conversation asasiqala ngekudzingisa kabanti ukuthi yini i-personal injury.
I-personal injury masingakhuluma from i-compensation fund point of view. Kula still khona ngokulimala emsebenzini. So you can't get injured anyway. Whatever injury must have been sustained during the course of work. So into ebalulekile ukuthi i-employer kumele isreportele kuqala ukuthi ulimele. From there, shifta to a doctor. Udoctor uyozosho ukuthi ngempela le injury iyahambelana nokuthi umuntu ulimele emsebenzini and ulimele to this extent into engizoyenza ngizomtreata kanje bese i-compensation fund we do what we call we give you reasonable compensation. In other words, we pay for medical expenses, reasonable medical expenses, and we also, once the rehabilitation of a person has been completed or the treatment of the person has been completed, into enzakalayo ukuthi information ibuya kithi from udoctor bese siya conclude si-assess ukuthi i-report ka-doctor is indicated ukuthi lo muntu sim-assessa kanjani i-level ye-disability yakhe. Yes, and then one of the important things is that during the time umuntu asa receive a treatment, we pay them what we call a temporary total disablement. That's the amount of money we give you for losing your income because you have to be at home to recover. You can't work and your employer cannot afford to pay you your full salary while you're receiving a treatment. So abantu bethu, they should not stay at home without income during the period of recovery. So whilst the doctor treater, nati we ensure we pay you a certain amount of money. And that temporary total disablement portion that we pay you, it's not the final amount of money from compensation fund. What happens is that we say in terms of our legislation, employer must pay you for the first 3 months. After 3 months, they must refer the claim to us so that we proceed until the doctor says this person has recovered fully, and then the claim comes back to the fund for finalization.
As we've seen in the insert, Joseph Dihle ukhala ngokuthi he's been shortchanged because le mali kayitfolile. I mean, it's not enough compared to the damage that is suffered as a result of having been injured at work. So, Nina, where do you feature in this?
In this, by understand abantu abalimele ukuthi compensation fund replaces the income lost. So when we compensate you, sibheka ukuthi bewuhola malini. We look at all your segments that contributes towards your earnings. So in other words, you'd have your salary, you'd have overtime, you'd have some other regular forms of income that you have like housing allowance and so on. We add all that up and give you only 75% of that amount while you are recovering. That's what we call temporary total disablement. And even maso recover fully, njengaye uncanyulwe his 3 middle fingers, we've got a way in which we assess. So in the compensation fund, you may find ukuthi an amputation of a full finger is about 5% of 5% of disablement, and the second one, and so on. We add that all up and use our formula. So if the disablement that we get is below, it's 30% and below, we give you a lump sum. So sizosebenzisa futhi ama earnings wakho, that's very important. I-compensation fund doesn't have a range of amounts that we pay back to individuals. Your earnings are very important. So if you're earning 5,000 rand, you'll get a compensation that is lower than a person who gets paid 20,000 rand, for example. So from those earnings, we've got a formula that we use to calculate a compensation for a permanent disablement. And that's your earnings multiplied by 15, and then we also multiply it by your level of disablement. So if your disablement is 15%, that will be 15 over 30, because E30 is the bracket for 30% and below. Okay. So let's say you're earning 5,000 rand, would say 5,000 rand multiplied by 15 to get your compensation for 30% disablement. That's how we assess. So siyadinga ukuthi abantu bethu ba understand ukuthi ama earnings wako abalulekile. Since we are replacing the income lost, we're not just giving you replacing your future earnings and so on. Absolutely. We're looking at your currently, when you got injured, how much were you earning? Okay. And if a person is disabled at an assessment that is below 30%, the assumption is that that person can be appointed somewhere. Most of the individuals, they get reintegrated into work by their employers and given different duties and still continue to work. It's unfortunate that in this instance, the injured employee could not get an alternative employment. Okay. Yes. Let's leave it there for now. Andy, so I will engage you on the rights of Joseph in this particular instance after the break. But khumbula ke mbukela ukuthi umuntu weqala kumele uthintsane naye emva kwengodi ngummeli. Ungamane ke usayine nje noma yini loniketwa yona. Kwanyalo ke asisishelele ngasetolo. We'll be right back. Sikwamukele futhi mbukele, khumbula ukuthi nawe ungaba ingcenye yalelihlelo ke ngekusishayela licingo ke noma usithinze ku social media, ku Facebook na ku Twitter. Siyaqhubeka nenkulumo yethu ke. Now Andiswa, what would be the cause of personal injuries claims? Yeah.
Then bulisa babukele emakhaya nawe Simphiwe, ndibulela ngelithuba usiphelona today to be here and sizochazela kahle ababukeli bethu. And uthandile umbuzo wakho oqala where you said intoni personal injury claim, you know, because personal injury claim ingavela kwindawo ngendawo different. As bese sithethile now siqale sathetha nge-workman's compensation, yes. But also kukhona claims as emanate from a road accident fund. Then kukhona nezinye claims okwazi uba zi-emanate from a medical malpractice. That is, if uye esibhedlele wangatreatwa kahle, then one complications. Yeah. Then kube khona nje nezinye abantu abashaywe ngamapolisa unlawful arrest, where umuntu ashayo anzakala limali, then you can get recourse even nalapho. Okanye mhlawumbe unomuntu wakho sejele owenziwe something mhlawumbe alimali esejele. So zonke ezo different types of personal injury claims, but kuhluka ukuthi zivela kuphi na umkhakha. Okay. You know, so zininzi, it can be different, including naleyo msebenzi. Then also, if I can go back a little bit before the question, right. I want you to tell you about the role of occupational therapy. The role of occupational therapy ikuba khona kuzo zonke ezi claims, because for anyone to compensate umuntu kufuneka akwazi ndokubana a-assess kubona ndokubana ulimale kangakanani na. And njengokuba elimele uzokwazi nubuyela back emsebenzini okanye akazukwazi na. And if uzokwazi ubuyela emsebenzini, then ngophi umsebenzi anowenza. So mandime apho kancinci for now, yeah. Then we can explore ukuthi kule mikhakha ke ngokwe different ebenikhuluma ngayo, because zonke ziba nendlela zazo zo calculate njengoba workman's compensation yona ibhatala only umholo. but road accident fund unohlobo layo, like ulooka on heads of damages uba i-pain, ubuhlungu, ukuphuka, umholo wakho na future medical costs. So yohluka kancane kuno workmen's compensation. Ne medical malpractice nayo similar to road accident fund, but yona nayo inezinto ezicompensatayo. But yona fumanise ukuba i-difference between yona no road accident fund uthola ukuthi umuntu yena uyakhokhela future medical expenses cash, whilst road accident fund akazikhokheli wenza i-certificate.
Okay, so who determines the recourse? Is it a medical practitioner? Is it an occupational therapist?
I process inde, ne? If I can, if let's say masithathe uJoseph, masi assume uJoseph uba welimele engozini yemoto. Njengoba sesichazela ukuthi ngokwe-work wenze kanjani. Uba welimele engozini yemoto, kuzoqala udokotela ajonge i-severity ye-impairment. That is, lento kuthiwa ngu-WPI efuneka i-calculate-iwe kuqala. Kubona into okokubana njengoba elimele i-impairment yakhe i-calculate-we yangu above 30% or yangu below 30%. Kulapho ke abantu bakuthi siqale sishayeke khona, because omnye uzothi ndilimele ndophuke umlenze ndine-claim ka-road accident fund, but uthole ukuthi ingaphansi kwe-30% le ifunwayo for uba makancephezeke for i-general damages. Then sibuza umbuzo olandelayo, uyibingaphansi ko-30%, then ke ngoku iu-affecte kanjani umsebenzi wakhe. Then siqale si-assesse sibone ukuthi okay, njengoba ngaphansi ko-30% akanokwazi uphinda sebenze, then iclaim yakhe ikhuliswa kanjalo nanjalo. So zininzi izinto funeka sizijongile before singangena ekuncephezelekeni.
Okay. Now Sinolwazi, asesichazeke abantu ukuthi yini emalungelo emuntu olimele emsebentini. 2, and emalungelo abo labantu ayafana yini kulo olimele engotini yemgwaqo nakulimele esibhedlela, medical negligence na injury on duty. Lama rights abo ayafana na yini?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Simphiwe, umbuzo wakho muhle futhi I think uzo affecta kakhulu neclaim ya Joseph at this point, even though yena sekukhona i-compensation ayitholile at this time. I think usisi uyibeke kahle with workmen's compensation, how they work and calculate some claims based on ama earnings aloyo muntu. With the road accident fund nayo inemigomo yayo. So njengoba deshilo andiswa kunalo 30% whole person impairment or WPI that will determine initially whether or not you're entitled to claim lawo ma generals lawo ukuphuka. And then babuye babheka izinto efana nokuthi ngesikhathi ulimala wawusebenza na noma wawuhlele ekhaya. Ekusebenzeni kwakho kwakuwena na owawondla ekhaya, unabantwana, kukhona ugogo omgadile, ubufunde kangakanani. Because ukufunda kwakho ukona futhi bekuzodeterminisha ukuthi ubuzohamba ufike kephi empilweni. So kufanele unxephezele ukuthi njengoba usuphukile mhlasimbe umsebenzi wakho usakwazi ukwenza kahle. So fanele bacabanga ukukhokhela lokho. I think kule insert kukhona i-comment eyenziwe about a lawyer oba ne-brain injury. We know that ama lawyers asebenzisa ingqondo kakhulu because fanele bafunde ba-advise abantu. So if umuntu ozo-affecteka ingqondo ubukade usebenza ngayo, chances are you'll get a higher compensation to compensate for the fact that you can no longer earn gainfully, you can no longer be gainfully employed in future. Whereas engasekulimala umunye umuntu maybe ubehlele ekhaya engafundile kahle abe ne-brain injury. Uma ngabe be-calculate bebuka ukuthi le brain injury izom-affecta kanjani, is there going to be a major difference ngendlela abekade ezokwazi uku-earna ngayo imali noma ondle ngayo ekhaya. So ngeke izifane neyommeli in terms of i-road accident fund. Uma ngabe sibuka njengoba dusha amanye ama-personal injury claims like medical malpractice for example, uhamba uye esibhedlela, ufike esibhedlela maybe benze operation in an incorrect way, or badelay ekukutreateni u-end up usulimala even worse off than when you came in. Depending on whether it's a government hospital or a private institution, that will determine how the claim process goes. And nakhona complicator because if ufuna ukusuwisha isibhedlela sikahulumeni kufanele ubanikeze notice. So within 6 months okulimala kwakhe esibhedlela kufanele ukhiphe notice ethi you intend to institute action against leso sibhedlela for whatever the cause may be. And we all know, we have to bear in mind ukuthi sino 3 years within which singaclaima ngawo. So umulimele namhlanje Mekwaphela 3 years ungaclaimanga, it becomes a problem. You can no longer get that compensation. Nakhona kuneminye imigomo engeke ngene kuyona njengamanje. So I think into esisha kakhulu nathi as abantu is asazi ngempela imkhakha, asazi nama time limits ukuthi siwafake nama claim, asazi nanokuthi bacalculate kanjani. Lento yokuthi silimele ngokufana kodwa umunye uthola imali enkulu kuneyami, iyona into esozama ukuthi si unpack namhlanje. ukuthi akusikona kuphela ukulimala ukuphuka komlenze noma ukuphuka komqala abawubukayo babuka nempilo yakho in general ukusebenza kwakho ukuhlala kwakho impilo level of education zonke lezo zinto before they actually calculate that claim and come to an amount ozonxephezelwa ngayo.
So from a legal perspective, how do you determine the value of the compensation?
As I said, there's a lot of factors that they look at. A lot of experts come into play. Mangithi experts, most of the time, because it's a third-party claim, and in all instances, it's medically involved. So an occupational therapist, for example, will do an assessment on how you will function post-accident. We say post-morbid. They compare your life before the accident to njengoba usulimele uzofunctiona kanjani manje njengoba usulimele. Will you need implements? Will you need your home to be redone? Those sorts of things. Depending on the injury, we will instruct people like dentists if there's a facial injury, all sorts of medical experts to have a look at the various aspects of your body that have been affected. And they will then say, if I look at this person, maybe ulimele ebusweni, kuzocosta imali ethile ukuthi si maintain amazinyo wakhe noma siwa replace. In future uzofanele abone udokotela once a year for the next 20 years. Bacalculate kanjalo khona bezokwazi ukuthi bakunikeze isinxephezelo saleyo medical intervention that you need.
But then you claim multiple times, noma is it just once and for all?
You cannot claim multiple times for the same injury.
Okay.
You cannot be compensated more than once for an incident. Again, it's an incident. So umulimale esibhedlela uzocompensate for leyo claim yakho yokulimala, and that is it. Umulimale ka road accident, any road accident ikunxephezele for say your personal impairment, maybe bakhoka general damages for ukuphuka komlenze. You cannot then go and sue the hospital that didn't fix your leg properly. So you can't be double compensated, for example. Once you've claimed and been paid, you cannot then go back and say, well, Angaga be happy, so I'm going to claim again.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd like to share some information on in an instance where you find ukuthi umuntu limele engozini emgwaqweni. A road accident, for example, a courier driver.
Yes.
You'll find that whatever he was doing was in the course of doing work when he got involved in a road accident. Such a claim would be coming to the compensation fund to knock at our doors to compensate them. So what we do in such instances to ensure that there is no double dipping. What the road accident fund does is that before they finalize the claim, they would come to the compensation fund to determine how much we have compensated and what we're still going to compensate, and take over from that, top up. So in other words, let's say they were going to give you R1 million, and in the compensation fund you received only 300,000. The road accident fund won't give you R1 million without deducting what the compensation fund has paid you. So there are instances where a person will have claims with the compensation fund and the road accident fund.
Okay, let's go to Rustenburg now. Guna Tsepang Sagumela Shelen Tsepang Sabona.
Good day to everyone on studio.
Ninjani ma'am. Spilile man. What's on your mind? Talk to us.
I was working for this certain mine around Rustenburg.
Okay.
So I got injured underground. So I stayed almost 2 years on surface. Apparently they were looking for an alternative job. But then the doctor said I could go back to my job. So, but then in 2017, earlier 2017, I was medically boarded, dismissed because of my injury at work. So what happens when you are medically boarded or dismissed because of your injury at work?
All right, thank you so much for call. Our experts are in studio and they will be helping you out. But for now, let's take a short break. Kumbula ke mbukele ukuthi imbila yesola umsila ngekulayetela. Tisukumele wena matfupa, ungathumeli. Let's take another commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Mbugele. Please feel free to ask a question or share your thoughts. Our guests are here to help you. And let's take a look at the Facebook messages that have been coming through at this hour. All right, Sipo Siroto, I hope our team will get that up. Sipo Siroto says the compensation payout of an accident or injury should be equal for everyone because an accident is a sudden situation that can happen to anyone. The risks of any sudden situation should be calculated to be the same for everyone. Temba Utsienage, this is a very interesting topic. In most cases, some of the private companies play hide and seek when it comes to compensating their employees by shifting the blame to them. So what must I do if my company doesn't want to assist me to get compensation after getting injury at work? J-Lo Utsienage, my younger sister was involved in an accident, but she was never paid. What should we do? All right, Facebook messages. But then before we get to those Facebook messages, we had a caller from Rustenburg, Utsepang. Please address that issue she had.
Okay, I'll refer to the role of the compensation fund when the injured employee reports a case to us. Utsepang was working at a mine. So in a case, Utsepang, the claim would go to one of our partners called the Rand Mutual Association, RMA. Okay. Those are the ones that deal with compensation claims on behalf of the compensation fund. But they implement the same legislation. I want to believe that disablement, Gatsepang, was above 30%. That's why it was difficult for her to be reinstated to the same job. In such cases, any disablement that is assessed above 31%, the compensation fund will pay pension. E-pension year two, again, we consider the earnings of the individual, and then it's 75% of your earnings if you're 100% disabled. If it's between 31% and 99%, then we'll pay a fraction of that. So if it's 80%, we'll pay a fraction of the 75% of your earnings. Okay. Yes. Now,
Tsepang Utsi, she was medically bored at work. Please explain what that means and what it entails.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, please, you may.
All right, I think there are two things that Utsepang said we phone call. One, the doctor said, so in such a situation where you feel ukuthi you are not ready to go back to work because of a disability, feel free uba uhambe uyofumana a second opinion. My reasoning is that umuntu that is supposed to look at ukuba uyakwazi usebenza or not, it's an occupational therapist, because kulapho thina si assessa i-functioning yomuntu simbona ukuthi can you do this, can you uyakwazi uqukula, uyakwazi uquku, awukwazi, uyakwazi ukwenza into ezithile. I-assessments ze-OTs zikhuluma ngalokho. So I think i-problem yakhe xa ndizibukela nje at a general level andikhoshwa nge-specifics zale case, maybe i-assessment yakhe was not done properly, because after 2 years then you become medically boarded. So in the umntu okwi-predicament enjengale, go and get a second opinion from an occupational therapist if kuthiwa ungakwazi ubuyela emsebenzini and wena uyazibona ukuthi ngekho ukwazi ubuyela emsebenzini. Then a second opinion will tell you ukuthi no, that's a fair reasonable kind of a decision or not. Because it's critical for someone to know good dipotwa manje okanye maybe at a later stage.
Okay. All right. I would love to engage you in just a moment, but for now, as I speak, semabombo lapha ke Carltonville kuna parties. Sakumele hlele parties sawubona. Kunjani mama?
Yaphila futhi sisakhona njani?
Siphilile, makhuluma nathi mama.
Futhi mina bengicela ukubuza umyeni wami onengxaki, but ngoku usemsebenzini. Umyeni wami uye waphathwa zindlebe, usebenza apha ezimine eCarltonville. Uye waphathwa zindlebe kusukela 2015-2016. Then uthe last year 2017 imine iye yamenza i-operation apha ezindlebeni. Kwathiwa indlebe zakhe ziboshakele kakhulu. Bamfika eyaseleft bathi bazazifika vesi bathi phangaphakathi besebenzisa umtshini nje phaya underground. Ingumuntu osebenza ngomtshini kuthiwa-ke ngoku uqobhokile phangaphakathi bazamfika bathethe lami iqobho iphakathi. Yami-ke kulo nyaka uphelileyo ngoMeyi uyenziwe i-operation. Then uye wahlala inyanga yonke yaphela engaphangeli engakwazi ukuya emsebenzini, izibhlida indlebe zakhe. Then ngoJuni wathatha ilivu sagoduka. Then xa sibuya back emizini wazama indlela zokuyokleyima-ke njengoba belimele emsebenzini. Bamenzela into ethi ebhalwe medical bathi ayo-mine accident, indlebe ebezizamuphatha nanini na. Then wayenza i-follow up wasade saya nase-RMA. Then i-RMA bathi masiye emine bamnike i-claim number so that bezawulandela bakwenzele intoni. Kwadi-difficult ukuthi bengafuni ukumsayinela bethi baconfuse uba abazi uba bazabhala ntoni kule nto ifuna i-RMA. Then kuthe ngosekuphela inyaka apha ko-October, then bathi bamfakile i-RMA. Nyani uye wojonga ke ngoku sibuyayo ngoJanuwari, ileta ebhaliweyo ithi akazukleyima cause ukugula i-medical ayo-assisted le nto inesele ukugula abanokwazi ukumbhatala. Bengicela ukubuza uba angathini because nangoku ndebe zisamphatha and le yaseleft imane iphuma into engathi itrina phaa phakathi, even nale bayisikileyo nayo isamphatha isaphuma ileyo into ephumayo.
All right, Patiswa, please stay on the line. One of our guests needs to talk to you. How would you address it?
I'm just listening to story Patiswa. I'm looking at it. Patiswa uma ngabe silandela story uthi wa operate wa imine. So the assumption uma ngimuzwa kahle imine ya authorize ukuthi anga operate umyeni wakhe. So legally it goes to a question of liability. Ngesikhathi imine ivuma ukuthi sizomthatha ayohlinzwa indlebe, where they're not saying yebo it's responsible ngokulimala kwakhe. We need to have a look at that. Ukuthi ba authorize kanjani initially ukuthi bavuma ukuthi operate umyeni wakhe. Kuze kufike kuleli zinga lokuthi I think kuze yasikwa indlebe and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse, and at the end sebethi it wasn't a mining accident. So from the very outset, that authority to say we will take over and allow this operation to occur for one of our employees who claims they were injured on duty is a big question there. We need to establish whether or not that mine actually said, yes, we are liable, and we will see this process through. Okay.
Walsh is still on the line. Andy, so please address that issue.
Also, I think uphathiswa angaya kumntu i-medical doctor kuthiwa i-ear, nose and throat specialist. Apho azocela into okokubana umyeni wakhe am-assesse azobona into ye-liability, because kufuneka i-doctor itsho into okokubana yintoni i-cause yokulimala. Then izo-assista le nto ithethwa nguSinolwazi athi izothetha nge-liability. Then ukuhamba nje engaphethanga that report mhlawumbi angangancedakali. Kodwa ubuhambe waya ku-RMA ephethe i-report from the ENT doctor, angakwazi uba ajonge uba what caused i-problems zakhe endlebeni. Then liability will be sorted out.
Okay, Patricia, siyabonga kakhulu kusishayela. I hope you were assisted. Now, how would you address in Zabaka, Patricia?
For us, it's very important to employer, not doctor, but confirm ukuthi this is an injury on duty incident. That's our point of departure. Before we can get that confirmation, it's not possible for us to accept that claim. So even RMA is correct to say they can't compensate because we don't take a decision outside a doctor no employer. Then advice ga doctor becomes very much important now for us to overturn any decision that we may have taken. I want to believe ukuthi in this case, a claim was repudiated because it's not an injury on duty claim. So we'll review our decision as soon as we receive a report that connects the injury or the hearing loss to an incident at work.
Okay, so you basically don't concern yourselves with injuries that happened beyond the workplace. Say, for instance, ngihamba ngesitolo and ngiyashelela nyawa ngiyalimala. What happens then?
If it's
Is it beyond your jurisdiction?
If it's not in the course of doing your work, then it's not a compensation fund claim.
Okay. In that particular instance, what do I do then, Andiswa?
But simply, if I can talk about lega parties, it could be an occupational health and safety issue. So it will, if it's proven to be related to occupational health and safety issue, then it can be under compensation. But if umntu uzishelele estolo engekho semsebenzini, it's a different ball altogether. Then you can uba mhlambo kwaspa maningamention magama, sorry. If any other retail shop apho kungabekwa nga sign yokuthi kukhona ilando the floor is wet, then that store may have to be answerable and will be the one abakwazi.
And just on that, on those the store incidents, if I can use that as an example, where a store actually ibegi signage yokuthi please mind the step and floor is slippery when wet, and you still proceed and you don't take caution. When you claim, there's something called apportionment there. So a portion of claim they will say it was your own negligence now, where there was signage, adequate signage, you saw the sign, you knew there was a step there and you proceeded blindly and you didn't take precautions now as a consumer in that store. So things like that, where there are actually warnings and disclaimers, we as Abantu, we need to pay attention to those things.
But then would I get compensated then in that particular
You would
instance?
get compensated, but not fully, because they would apportion, they would calculate what portion of that injury was of your own doing. Well, that would be a different conversation. Obviously, you would engage them. But, you know, if there's a floor slippery sign and there's water on the floor and there's somebody mopping, for instance, you know, the test becomes, would a reasonable person have continued to walk across the puddle, or would they have tried to get away from the puddle? So things like apportionment also come into play, and people tend to expect that I'm going to get millions because, I cracked a rib when I fell in the store, whereas you were also partly to blame for that.
Your injuries have to be thoroughly assessed by experts. We'll be right back after this. Singathanda ukuva ukuthi wena ke uthini ngale ndzaba. Tincingo tethu solo etivuliwe. Asisiye lapha eduduza kuna Maria. Sakumukela hlelweni Maria sawubona.
Yebo ke ninjani?
Siphilile kunjani ma?
Siyaphila. Mina ngalimala ngo-2013.
Okay.
Ngisebenza FM ngawe FM eMaleki.
Okay.
Thina namhlanje angikatholi next. Ngalimala amadolo wethu.
Okay. Walimala kuphi? Wenda umsebenzi muni?
Bengipheka.
Okay. Okay. Ngicela ubambe kancane ke isinini sethu sifuna ukubuta kancane.
Okay ba.
Ngicela ukubuza mama ukuthi umqhashi wakho uye wa report accident ku compensation fund, uye wathola i-claim number?
Adanga yenza usista bekafika efemini.
Okay, ma'am.
Banbathi bona abayitholanga.
Okay.
All right, Maria sabonga kakhulu kusishayela.
Ngiyabonga bhuti.
Okay, ngicela uyaddress lenzaba Maria.
Okay. In the instance ga Maria, legislation yethu ithi when you get injured, you must report to your employer within 7 days, and your employer must report to the compensation fund within 7 days of receiving a report from the injured employee. Okay. And then we've got up to 1 year for the employer to report, or both of them to report to the compensation fund, so that the claim period doesn't prescribe. Yeah. You know, so if Maria failed to report to an employer in a period of 1 year, then the compensation fund won't consider such a claim. It would be outside the reporting period. But if Maria can prove to us ukuthi reportile ku employer yake, it's the employer's fault to report to the compensation fund, we'll find a way to register the claim and chase the employer for compliance. Okay. What we do is that we want Maria to receive the right treatment, as well as to be compensated fully according to her injury. And then with the non-compliance employer, we deal with it through our inspectors to ensure that there is compliance in the future.
So what's the first step that Maria should take?
Let her visit any Department of Labor office to lodge a complaint that the employer, when she got injured in 2013, didn't report to us. Okay. Yes.
Now, Andy, so one of our viewers earlier on Facebook, abe khuluma generic compensation. Would see why ingabi equal? Because accident, it just happens suddenly. Nobody anticipates it.
If singabuyela back kula mikhakha ndithe kukhona heads of damages ne mawunxephezelo ngo road accident fund, le yokuqala kuthiwa general damages. Kwi general damages umuntu wonke uyalingana unxephezelwa ngokufana. Kwi general damages, that is, if uphuke ingalo kuzocheck into kokubana if uphuke ingalo uzoba ne-arthritis, uzoba nentoni, kukhangelwe i-case efana neyakho unxephezelwe ngokufana. Okanye mhlawumbe lese senze le example ye-atheni enze ilanda i-brain injury, abe ne-brain injury, kuzo understand uba i-severity ye-injury inkangakanani na. So whether ungumuntu osebenza as a domestic worker or any owenza nophi umsebenzi, uzonxetshelelwa ngokufana ngokwe-general damages. Okay. But umehluko uba kwi-loss of earnings. ngoba ke ngoku kuzojongwa from there kujongwa uba i-brain injury i-impacte kangakanani umsebenzi wakho as an attorney or i-brain injury u-impacte kangakanani umsebenzi wakho as a factory worker.
Okay.
So umahluko lapho kodwa general damage zona ziyafana.
Right. So I think, way you know that.
Just to add on to that, I think that's where the assessment process comes in, where you actually have to see a series of experts that will assess your injury or the extent of your injury and determine really how will that injury affect you going forward. So for future medicals, for example, that expert will tell you, Uguti, you will need X amount of operations in order to be, to be restored or to function as a normal person. People like industrial psychologists will tell you potentially what your earnings could have been, but for that accident. So you would be entitled to claim for that loss of earning as well. We also go further into things like life expectancy, if they look at your lifestyle, your pre-existing conditions as well. But for the accident, you probably would have made it post retirement age and that sort of thing. Okay. So a lot of the experts come in at that point, and I think Abantu, they don't understand that. That is why we get these comments about a blanket approach. An accident is an accident, we should all get the same, but there's a lot more granular things that occur, and a lot of experts that need to actually do those calculations, if I can call them, for lack of a better word, to determine on an individual level, this is what the accident has done to your life, therefore you are entitled to X amount as compared to Usimpiwe or Ruandiswa or anyone else for that matter.
All right, now let's take a final commercial break. Siyabuya kwanyalo ungasanyakade. Back with the final touches to the show. We're discussing personal injury on duty. Now, Sinelwazi, Dr. Lotsi, ushaye my closing comments wakho.
Ngiyabonga Simpiwe. I think for me, as abantu, as we really need to get educated. We need to ask those questions. And something doesn't feel right, say something, ask the right questions. If you're injured on the road at work, you're not supposed to be injured at work. It's supposed to be a safe environment. So there and then, there's obviously something wrong. We lack a lot of knowledge, and I think, for example, uma ngase kushona uma ekhaya, ashiya abantwana bakhe abawu4 kade ebondla, nobody knows ngoba umama akasekho, akekho wazi ukuthi labo bantwana bangakwazi nabo ukuthi ba-applyele isinxephezelo ngoba sebelahlekelwe umzali, depending on ukuthi ulahleke engozini yemoto noma emsebenzini noma engabe kephi. So I think for me, asiqale siyibuze le mbuzo, singasabi ukonfront odokotela nabasebenzi nabaqashi bethu. We must really ask the questions and get the answers that we need to assist us in progressing claims.
And Lisa, just briefly, your last parting shot.
I wish we can go back to the beginning. But for me, and this is khuluma ngento beske sayithetha apha before, but I want to caution abantu. But every time xa besenza claim noba yeluphi na uhlobo, they must always keep documents zabo. Because you'll find that abantu abaninzi kunzima ubanxephezela because abanazi documents, certificates, for example, the employment. certificates the sisters and the brothers abafundileyo, because that has an impact quick-claim. Let's say sithatha umuntu umntana onomama ongafundanga.
Nokuthula, your final words, unfortunately.
So we need documents all the time, medical, anything that has to help with the claim.
Okay, Nokuthula, just briefly, 10 seconds.
A compensation fund is through our offices with Department of Labor, and they are available nationwide. Sicela ukuthi wonke umuntu ongekho satisfied with their injury on duty claim, visit such offices. They are equipped to assist them at any time.
Ladies, you are stars. Thank you so much for coming through this afternoon. This is how we come to the end of the show. Mbukele siyabonga edvakashini tethu kusiphakela lwadi lolubandi kangaka. Siyabonga nakuwe futhi mbukele ukuthi uhleli nathi sathe safika emaphethelweni zalo hlelo. Remember that you can catch a repeat of our shows on Thursdays at 10 p.m. Otherwise, tune in again next week Monday at 12 p.m. for yet another live consumer show. From Miss Simpiwe and the rest of the team, have a blessed week. Cheers.